I can really tell that this episode on the one really made people who liked Amethyst back in the earlier years of Steven Universe much more. And when I first watched this episode, I can instantly tell for a fact that there's pretty much a reason onto why that not giving Garnet or Amethyst a chance when it comes to the credibility is not really the best way. I mean, granted, it's first impressions as usual, but whenever I see Amethyst in this episode for how she's portrayed, it really shows that she has to move forward to act immature in comparison to Paul and Garnet, but mainly for her own reasons. After getting more of Peridot's machines, Paul describes that the reason onto why they stay at Earth is because the gems do terrible things that was really unfair on Earth, and they refuse to go back to Homeworld, which gave Steven an idea that the No Homeboys when he was reading the book that centers around the No Homeboys. But Amethyst is literally the only person who agrees with him. So when she takes Steven on the road, she doesn't want to go back and she decides to take Steven where she was born, and that is the prime kindergarten where she was born in that hall. To tell you the truth, thinking about this location and after witnessing it in episodes and clips that I've revisited from time to time, this was a lot more unique in comparison to the other times where we see the kindergarten. Again, mainly this location. There are two different kindergartens if I'm incorrect, but my point is, this place made multiple amethysts that really had a different type of personality in comparison to Paul and Garnet. Granted, Garnet is a fusion, but at the same time, with their origin stories being revealed later on in the series and indicating that they're a lot more smarter and better in comparison to Amethyst, it kind of shows that Amethyst is literally doing anything on being immature and different because she was born in a way that is completely different in comparison to Paul and Garnet. If you want to talk about Ruby and Sapphire being a fusion of Garnet, but it's still the same thing. To tell you the truth, Amethyst's way of living as a gem kind of shows onto why she eats. Because as far as I'm concerned, even if she doesn't make the food go digested, she just really wants something new when it comes to the way that she was born as a gem. And as far as I'm concerned with her relationship with Steven, it really shows that her relationship is supposed to be fun and really reckless, but that's mainly her personality onto why that in Tiger Millionaire she needs to take out her aggression and cope with it. And trust me, whenever I see people on Twitter completely say that people cope in order to make things better, they are literally just scraping the bottom of the barrel to make everything toxic as possible, all the while not fixing the solution itself. Which is mainly Amethyst doing most of those things, but at the same time not being toxic. With her fight scene with Paul, it's emotional when it comes to a point of view of what she's dealing with. And to tell you the truth, when it comes to Paul, there is always a reason onto why she doesn't get along with Amethyst in comparison to Garnet. And to tell you the truth, for how these two have been developed for almost a year since that this came out after Steven Universe became a thing, it's honestly a good pacing when it comes to these characters just trying to get closer with each other in comparison to how they were from the very first episode. Even when they work together when it comes to missions, it really shows that they just don't easily get along, and when they form into Opal, it wasn't enough. Like, I still love the episode, but at the same time, you can really tell that the development is increasing, and when it came to this episode, it's an indicator that they'll really be coming a lot more closer. Like, this is still an Amethyst-centered episode, but at the same time, it's a Amethyst-centered episode that really showcases the interactions around her and how she's just trying to cope with everything that is happening to her, not to mention not being better as Paul and Garnet. As for the song On the One, it's a really good song, and to tell you the truth, it really is somewhat wholesome to see Steven and Amethyst hanging out together like usual, but at the same time, this is also following the story when it comes to the second half, because with the first half being happy go-go when it comes to on the road or living on the road, the second half really takes a huge turn when it comes to making this episode a lot more dark, a little bit more darker, but at the same time having a satisfying ending. This episode was a lot more better than I remember it, and I'm not sure if Pink Diamond had something to do with it, but if she did, when it came to my lack of knowledge after not watching all the episodes, I'm pretty sure it won't affect the development of Amethyst. I'm just thinking that in comparison to Pearl and Garnet, they suffer the worst when it comes to Pink Diamond, and when it comes to Amethyst, let's just say that despite her being weaker than Pearl and Garnet, she has something better, which for me personally isn't really much of an accomplishment considering that she didn't mean to run up against Pearl and Garnet when it comes to Pink Diamond. But at the same time, we still need to wait until we finish multiple seasons until we get into the mid of season 5. I'm giving this episode a 9 out of 10.